The world we're going into is not the same as the one we're leaving behind. Now, this is so true in almost every area of our lives, including for us as investors. Now, 2020 was a wild year for investors, well, for anybody, but it's over now. And whether you lost big or you made it out okay, it doesn't really matter now. But what does matter is how well you're prepared and how well you're going to do in the new year of 2021. So in this video, I'm going to detail what we can know for almost certain for next year. And most importantly, the 5 key steps I'm going to be doing to navigate and thrive through these markets next year. Now, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to show you the places where I'm going to be putting my money. I'm going to show you what my plan is, and I'm going to be sharing it all with you. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss, and I've been analyzing and discussing markets with you for a long time now. I have over 10 million views on this channel, and I do it because I believe that money gives us options, which is more important probably now more than any time ever before. So if you like these topics and you want to help me get more people to learn and to wake up to this, then take a quick second and just click that like button real fast. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification as well. All right, now real quick, one other thing. If you don't make it to the end of the video, I just want to let you know, quick note, I am doing a special New Year's event the first week of January. So this is a little video, but I'm going to go in deep onto that. I want to make sure that you start the year right for your investments. I want to make sure you're prepared for whatever 2021 brings. Like I said, start the year off right. Protect yourself against this great reset stuff, all that stuff they're pushing on us. And you can just find the link in the description of this video. All right, it's a free presentation I'm doing. Link is in the description, and I hope to see you there. All right, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it, talking about how I am personally going to be preparing for 2021. And it's going to be like a high level, right? Now, if there's anything that we can learn from 2020, it's that the future is uncertain, right? Now, there's a saying that I never lose. I either win or I learn. So regardless of how the year went for you, there's things that we can learn and we can make better. So if I look back over 2020 just pretty broadly, we had the markets were screaming along. The unemployment was at a historically low level. The markets, the economy, everything was doing good. Everything was happy. Everything was wonderful. And then the pandemic came. All of a sudden, the virus came, shut everything down. And some people call that a black swan event. Nobody really predicted that was going to happen at that time, especially to the order of magnitude that happened. The entire world went into lockdown at the same time. Most of the liberties were frozen, and at the same time, we saw the fastest stock market crash in history, which was crazy. And then we saw the fastest market rebound in history, which was even more crazy. We also saw more stimulus, more money printing, more money injection than any time in history. We saw about $5 trillion in the United States get pumped out into the economy and the markets. That was enough to increase the money supply by about 30%. We also saw interest rates drop almost to zero, and now the Federal Reserve is telling us that they're going to keep interest rates down for another 3 to 5 years. They're also going to continue to inject money through quantitative easing, they said, to infinity. So without a crystal ball, I don't have one. Sure make things easier if I did, but we don't. Here is what I'm expecting with almost certainty of what we're going to have next year. Now, something can change, but I'm pretty certain this is what's going to happen. One, we're going to have more pandemic. We're already hearing about now a second strain. Who knows what is going to happen with the vaccine, all those things. They're saying even with the vaccine, we may not open back up until 2022, even with it. So we're going to expect more pandemic. We're going to expect more of the economy to shut down. Travel will be shut down. Restaurants, businesses are going to continue to be impacted. And because of that, we're going to have more stimulus. We're going to have to continue to print more money, continue to put more money out to the people. We're going to see, the rise of direct money injection from the Treasury, which is going to be interesting. We're going to see more zero interest rates. They're going to continue to stay down. They've already told us that. And when you add all that up, like I said, it basically comes down to more money printing. So in the face of that, those things are pretty certain. How do I plan on investing next year? So let me give you my 5-part plan to thrive next year and beyond, okay? So here's what I'm expecting. So the first thing I'm doing, the first thing to thrive and survive next year and beyond is you got to pay attention, right? You got to pay attention because things are happening really, really fast. And, like I said, I've given you all the things I'm expecting next year. And although they're pretty certain, they could change. Now, like I said, I do know for sure they're going to be spending more money. That's for sure. The deficit is about $3.5 trillion. So either way, just to cover the expenses of the government, they have to print another $3.5 trillion. But then, like I said, there's all the stimulus and things like that. So we know they're going to be printing money. And so what do we want to do? We want to be paying attention. So what are we paying attention to exactly? Well, we need to be paying attention to the Fed. The Federal Reserve is driving the market. So we need to listen to what they're saying. We need to listen to interest rates and quantitative easing. We need to look at any new things they're doing in different ways they can inject money. We need to pay attention to the potential almost merger of the Fed and the Treasury and what that's going to do to stimulate different parts of the economy. In a normal market, you can kind of tell what's going to happen, but because this is being manipulated by the Fed, we have to basically hang on their every word. So we have to be paying attention for that. The next thing we want to do is we want to be paying attention to the bonds, all right, the bond market. A lot of people, most investors are paying attention to the stock markets. The stock markets really don't matter. We want to be focusing on the bond markets. That's what the Fed is focused on. They're propping up the bonds. The bonds are debt. And so they want to keep those bonds up. As long as the bonds continue to stay up, then the stocks will probably also do the same. We also want to focus on real interest rates. Like I said, they're bringing rates down towards zero, but depending on what happens with the government and people buying the bonds, interest rates could start going up. Now, we really, really want to pay attention to that. And I said real interest rates because they might have, 1% or 2% interest, but if inflation's at 3 or 4% interest in real rates, it's actually negative because the interest is less than the inflation that they're having. We also want to pay attention to M1 and M2 money flows, and those have been very interesting the last couple of weeks. We can see money about $600-700 billion moving between M1 and M2, which is long-term cash and short-term. So those are super important. We also want to pay attention to other things. We want to pay attention to lockdowns. Where are they going to be happening? What industries are going to be impacted? And we need to adjust there. We have to pay attention to, like I said, the virus. Is there another strain? What's happening there? And then even bigger, we have to watch politically. I mean, there's the World Economic Forum's calling for the Great Reset. Now there's a cyber pandemic that's happening. Like I said, could create more lockdowns. So we have to be paying attention. So that's the first thing. So you're already doing that because you're watching this YouTube video. So I know you're doing that. Now the second thing is putting your money in the right place. So when they're printing all this money, it's fake. It's fake fiat counterfeit money. And when they create an unlimited amount of fake fiat money, it drives up real assets. So money is not wealth. Money measures wealth. Wealth is real goods, real services. And when we have more money chasing the same amount of goods and services, it drives those prices up. And so that fake money is going to drive into real assets. So where I plan on putting my money is gold. Of course, gold is going to continue doing good. So hold gold. Gold is that chaos hedge. If the whole world goes to hell in a handbasket, you have that gold. But a way to make big upside gains is with gold miners. So if gold goes up by $200 or $300 an ounce, that's pretty good. But if you're a gold miner with 5 million ounces in the ground, $200 times 5 million, that is a big swing. This year, we've been crushing it on our gold miner plays. We have several triple-digit winners in there. And so it's a really good way to play gold, but get huge upside. Also, Bitcoin. Of course, I talk about Bitcoin all the time. You may have your different views on Bitcoin, and that's okay. But what can't be disputed is it has been the very best performing asset for the last 11 years. Every single year except one out of 11 years. Now, I know people think it's volatile, but if you look at the lowest price every single year, it's been up. 1 year, 2015, was the only year that it was down, and it's been the lowest point every year has been up, and Bitcoin will continue to outperform. And then the next place is commodities. Like I said, real assets, that's what commodities are, and so that's where I want to focus putting money. Now, they're good hedges, and they protect us against inflation because, like I said, they're tangible assets that are purchased with currency. So more fake currency chasing raw, tangible assets. So think things like metals. Gold, obviously, gold, silver, other metals, raw materials, agriculture, things like that. So when the currency supply increases, like I said, more dollars chasing the same amount of goods, it's going to cause the prices of those commodities to rise or inflate. Now, investing in commodities can be kind of difficult, especially for regular investors, because most commodities aren't like tradable. They're physical items. They're real items. And so you might have to be like in the futures market, but you can do it pretty easily with different ETFs, commodity ETFs. There's hundreds of them to choose from. Some are just metals only. Those are the best performing ones this year. Others are agriculture. And then some are blends of everything. So like the iShares Commodity Fund, it tracks the S&P GSCI Commodity Index. It has like energy products are like 56% of that fund. Agriculture is about 20% of that fund, and then metals are about 16% of that fund. So you can find different ETFs with different blends depending on which ones you think are going to be the best one. All right. So just find the ETF that seems to match that. And you can find plenty of good ETFs. Just search online, spend a little bit of time. All right. The next thing is that, what am I thinking about stocks and paper assets? Well, I do buy some stocks and some paper assets, but they don't really make up a huge part of my portfolio. Most of the stocks I do are kind of more for shorter term plays. And then, of course, a lot of the gold and silver miners, like I've talked about. So those are stocks as well. And then I do own stocks for dividend stocks. So those are cash flow. I buy them for cash flow. So a little bit there. Also, the next place I'm going to be putting my money is outside of the traditional market. So I've made a career out of mostly investing into non-traditional assets. So this is outside of the market. So this is like businesses and private equity. Now, businesses are the most powerful of all assets. That's why the richest people in the world are entrepreneurs. Bill Gates of Microsoft, Richard Branson of Virgin, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, businesses. Problem is, it requires skill to start. It requires skill to manage, things like that. And so I like to invest into businesses. I do that through private equity deals. A couple notable ones that I did this year. I invested into a pre-IPO deal of a battery recycling company. I got in like $50 on the shares and ended up selling them for like $140. Did pretty good. There's two different gold miners that I was able to get into like on the first round, getting in 30, 40, 50 cents, selling those for a little bit more for, $1, $1.50, doubling, tripling my money. There's one plant-based food company. I got in on about a 55 cent entry. And then right now it's valued for about $1.50. So it's like a 3x return. I think it's maybe going to hit $5 next year. Also, I have like an apartment building that I am completely refurbished, rebuilt, and that's in escrow. I'm selling that right now. So those are deals that I'm doing outside the market. All right. Okay. Now the third thing of 5 that you have to be ready for this year is you have to be ready to pivot. Now I did a video talking about my probability of what's going to happen next year, and most people were pretty receptive to that. You have to change based off new information. Some people say you change your mind too much. The point is I'm not trying to predict what's happening. I'm reading the information, and I have to be ready to pivot very, very quickly. So we have to tactically manage our portfolio. If you're in with like a financial advisor and they have you with like a 60-40 split, be very worried. Be very, very worried about that. That is not a good plan moving forward. You need to be tactically managing your portfolio. I'm not talking about day trading it, but you need to be looking at the information and ready to pivot at any time. Now, we don't know what next year has for sure. We've outlined some things that are most likely for sure. And so we have a plan based off of that, but we have to be ready to pivot at the moment's notice if some of that information changes. All right. Now, the fourth thing that I'm doing next year is I'm working to reduce my taxes, and you should be doing the same thing. So what does it say? A penny saved is a penny earned, right? Taxes is your single biggest expense. And so if you can cut your single biggest expense, it's like making more money. Now, there's lots of ways to do that. I work with a tax strategy firm. They're not my CPAs. They're not my tax attorneys. They're just a tax strategy firm. They can get my taxes cut way, way, way down. So you really want to hire a professional that can help you get your taxes down. I'm doing something even more drastic. January 1st, I am moving from California to Puerto Rico, and I'm doing that for taxes. In California, we have the highest taxes in the state. So between federal and state taxes, I'm paying over half of my income goes away to taxes. In Puerto Rico, less than 4% of my income will go to taxes. So I am reducing my taxes. That's a big thing I'm doing for 2021, and you should be focusing on the same thing. And then my fifth and final thing that I'm doing is I am personally going to continue to grow. Now, this one might be a little far out there, but I've left it at the end because it is the most important. You need to focus on your own growth. All right. Everybody wants to think about investing in the next hot stock, but you focus on your own growth. Now, for many people, life's a struggle because of a lack of financial education. Much of the current financial crisis was caused by a lack of financial education. Now, I believe education is the most important thing, more important than it's ever been. Now, without financial education, as part of the core curriculum of schools, we're just wrecking our children. It's not good for the future. Now, in my opinion, unless you take action right now, your 2021 may not be different than your 2020 or the year before. So how do I do it? How do I do this? Well, books, obviously. You can see some of my bookshelf back there, tons of books, tons of podcasts, tons of YouTube videos. In my car, I don't listen to music. It's just education. I've joined lots of groups. This year in 2020, I joined 2 mastermind groups. These are high-level groups of 15 to 20 people. They cost anywhere from 10 to 30 grand to join them. But we share high-level deals. That's how I get access to a lot of these deals that I'm talking about. So my goal for 2021 is to join 2 more. Those will cost me 20 to 30 grand each. But it's not about how much it costs. It's about how much it brings back in return. One idea that I got out of one of those groups pays for like 5 or 6 groups total. You know what I mean? So join those groups. So those are the 5 things that I'm going to do personally to survive and really set myself up, set my family up to succeed in 2021. Remember this. We can't change the past, okay? We can't change the past, but we can commit today to make the future better, all right? You're not a victim. The future is ours to create. It can be whatever you want it to be as long as you take the steps to do that, all right? Let me know what you think. Are you going to commit to create the future you want? And if so, what steps are you going to take? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, remember, I'm doing a special New Year's Eve event the first week of January to make sure that you start off 2021 right. Make sure that your investments start off on the right foot to make this the best year ever. Protect yourself against this great reset and all those things we're doing. There's a link in the description of the video. Other than that, give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it. If you don't, thumbs down. That's okay. But either way, leave me a message. Let me know what steps are you going to be taking to make 2021 the best year ever. That's what I got for you today. To your success. I'm out.